different? What did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set the rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon according to your city and state where you are. Welcome to USMLESarthi. Today we have a phenomenal guest, Dr. Imban with us. He's born in India and currently he is in India. So let's start with the interview. He have done several USCE and he have completed his step 1, step 2. He is ECFMG certified and he has applied this year for the residency. So let's start with the interview. Welcome, Dr. Imban, on this USMLESarthi portal. So let's start with your introduction. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you, Aarti, for having me here. So, yeah, my name is Inban. I'm an ECFMG certified international medical graduate, and I'm from Chennai, India. So, right now, I'm working as a general physician here for about 1.5 years. And with regard to my USMLE journey, yes, as Aarti mentioned, I've applied for internal medicine this year for this year's match. And right now, I'm just preparing for interviews as well as step 3. And hoping for a match.
Okay, Imban, thank you. So, how do you find USC in the residency journey? Like, how important it is?
Yeah, I think US clinical experience is a very, very important component of this entire USMLE journey, and I personally believe that it's as valuable as step exams. The very obvious reason is letters of recommendations because as I applied for match this year, I was checking out different programs, and most of the programs 3,000 applications, and some of the IMG friendly programs receive even 5,000 to 6,000 applications. So with this level of competition, I don't think we can even stand a chance if we don't have at least 3 letters of recommendation from US based doctors. So obviously we're going to get that only with US clinical experience. So the very obvious reason is letters of recommendation, but actually US clinical experience is much more than that, I guess. The primary thing is we can understand about the healthcare structure here in the US when we come and do rotations here. And with the new era system, they have simplified it so much. We have just 10 sections, and out of the 10 sections we can mention only 3 meaningful experiences. So as I've already mentioned, with the amount of competition, I think we need to have a perfect era CV, and for that I believe these US clinical experiences are going to be very important, because what we do in that USC, I think that we can mention in the ERA CV, and only then I think the ERA CV will look really good. And not just that, as I'm preparing for interviews now, the general opinion and the general suggestions from most of the panelists from Sarthi as well as from other residents is that we need to quote examples for most of the questions in the interviews from US based rotations, so that will look more so that our answers will look more convincing for the interviewers. So starting from letters of recommendations and ERA CV and interviews, I think US clinical experience will play a very, very big role. Not just that, even in personal statement, personally, I have used examples from US based rotations. And, honestly, I think US clinical experience will play a very big role, in this entire USMLE journey.
Thank you, Anban. Actually, taking from your answer that you said that USE plays a big role about your conventional, and you should be very conventional according to the program director. So, how do you prepare yourself for entire, like whether it is US clinical experience, whether your PS and CV, what difficulties you faced?
Well, when talking about difficulties, I think moving outside from the specific rotations, we need to first plan earlier because there are several external factors which are operating here. For instance, if we are from other country like India or any other country, will require visa in the first place to come here to the US and do rotations. And getting visa after COVID is not really easy. The waiting time, I believe, is much more longer. So these things have to be handled first. We should get ready ourselves with visas, and when we are planning for rotations, it's not easy because there are several things like accommodation and transportation, food. All these things have to be arranged. So other than rotations, these are some things we need to plan. And the other thing, I don't know if this is common with many people, but at least for me and most of the Indians, I believe the communication has to be taken care of because in a place like India, we don't generally communicate in English to the patients or even with our friends, right? We usually use native language. But coming here to the US, the thing is entirely different. Almost everything is in English, starting from talking to patients to attendings, everything is in English. So if our fluency and flow is good, then it's fine. But otherwise, if students are just starting to prepare for rotations, I think the first thing is communication. They need to start speaking up in English, either to the family members or friends, so that we get used to the system of speaking in English. And for rotations as such, I think if there is one thing that we need to prepare, I believe it's about the case presentations, because with my personal experience on a day-to-day basis, the most common thing that we do with the attending is presenting various cases after seeing the patients. So if we are not really used to the system of presenting cases, then that might be a huge challenge, not just to impress the attending, but also to get oriented with the entire rotation. It might be a bit challenging if we are not really good in this case presentation. Here in the US, they use this format called SOAP. It is subjective, objective, assessment, and plan. If we type it in Google, we'll get the format for all the systems and even for other specialties as well. So if we are planning for rotation, I think we should definitely get used to the SOAP system of case presentation. And other than that, obviously, whatever specialty we are planning for, we should I think we should take care and study about the basic cases. For instance, if it is internal medicine, we should have basic knowledge about diabetes, hypertension, cardiac failure, pneumonia. So these are common things which we'll see here. So I think we should basically know about these things. It might be challenging if we don't know these things. And the other thing I would suggest personally is students should actually come as group, because I was actually alone in this entire journey, and it was kind of I felt lonely after a particular point of time, because you'll be studying for exams, you'll be doing research projects, you'll be working hard in your rotation as well to create a good impression. And when you're doing these things alone, it will feel as if it's a lot of work to do. So my personal suggestion is, if students are starting their USMLE journey, form a good group of 3 or 4 and plan your rotations, as a team, so that you'll enjoy the rotation and learn at the same time, together. So, yeah, coming in team would be advisable. So, yeah, talking about challenges, I think these are the basic things: communication, doing things together, and getting used to the US system, and the basic case presentation and the knowledge of the basic bread and butter cases of the specialty. So these might be challenging. Of course, there might be plenty of other things, but I think these are the very basic things.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very informative. Coming in the groups, that is very much advisable for the students. Even we also advise for that, because it's a new state and all. So another question is, which rotations you have done with the USMLESarthi, and how was your experience? What you want to tell the students about that?
Yeah, my experience was so good. It was a great learning curve for me. So, my first rotation was in the state of Michigan. I rotated with the program director of Beaumont Hospital, internal medicine program director, Dr. El Terifi, and also with Dr. Abdullah Hafiz. He's an internal medicine specialist as well as a geriatric specialist there. So, I did a 4-week rotation there first. And my second rotation was with Dr. Amit Korea. He's the director of hematology of LBJ Hospital, and he's also, an attending in the University of Texas Health. So that was my second rotation, and my third rotation was in New Jersey. It was with Dr. Nader Mahmood. He's a pulmonologist, and he works in St. Mary General Hospital. I believe he's the department chair of medicine there. So that was my third rotation. So all three rotations were very helpful to me, and each was a very unique experience. For instance, the first one was a core internal medicine rotation, and it was a complete inpatient rotation there. So since it was my first rotation, it was really valuable because that was the first time when I was learning about this digital electronic medical record system, the EMR Epic system. So that was the first time when I was encountering, and it was a good learning thing for me, to use the Epic system. And I believe this Epic system will also be a big talking point in the interviews as well. So it was really helpful in that way. And the other thing about the first rotation was that there was a regular interaction with the patients. We get to present at least one case individually each day with the attending, and the usual schedule goes this way: we go early in the morning, we take cases, we present it to the attending, and then we have a didactic session where we discuss almost all the cases taken by the students for that particular day. And then we used to have one weekly session with the program director wherein we present some topics, or we give some presentations, or we present the cases. So it's usually it goes that way. Yeah, that rotation was good. It was really good. It was a good inpatient experience, I would say. And yeah, that was with regard to the Beaumont Hospital rotation. And my second one was, as I mentioned, it was with Dr. Amit Korea in Houston. So it was a more specialized one because the rotation was more concentrated towards hematology and oncology patients. So if someone's really interested in long term career of hematology and oncology, I would strongly recommend this rotation, because Dr. Amit Korea, he's really fantastic. The way he teaches things in hematology and oncology, it was really inspiring. So if someone's really interested in hem-onc fellowship after internal medicine, I think I would strongly recommend that rotation. And of course, the University of Texas Health, the Texas Medical Center, it's a huge network of hospital, and I think we'll have plenty of potential for networking as well. And of course, it was a good inpatient experience. You get to meet a lot of patients. You get to present a lot of cases. Of course, Epic Access was there. So that was about the second rotation. And the third rotation was in New Jersey. It is in St. Mary's General Hospital. I believe that is one of the teaching hospital for New York Medical College as well. And the good thing about the third rotation, that is the St. Mary General Hospital, is that you get to work along with the actual resident team. For instance, I used to go for the pre-rounds, morning reports, noon conferences, and go for rounds with the attending as well. So you almost, it's almost like a sub internship. Like, you work with the residents, and you get to learn what they actually do. And of course, when you're working with the residents, it means more networking as well. And Dr. Mahmood, he's fantastic. I mean, being the department chair of medicine and a pulmonary care specialist, he teaches a lot of things in a more simple but very, very convincing way. So yeah, it was a really, really good experience. All three experiences were fantastic inpatient experiences. And yeah, if students are looking forward, to US clinical experiences, they can definitely have these rotations in their mind.
Thank you. This is very helpful. This will be very helpful for other students. So your profile says you have 20 publications in research. So would you like to share some insights about research? How did you find it, and how it is difficult, whether it is actually difficult, and what you will suggest for IMGs?
Okay, yeah. When it comes to IMGs, I believe research is actually a difficult component, because we're not used to this system of research. When at least in my medical school, or in my place, the emphasis for research is not that prominent. We have something like short-term studentship that we do with ICMR, but again, you don't get a lot of publications. And unless and until you are really proactive during your medical school, I don't think research will be an important component in most of the IMGs, at least from my place or in India. So initially I also had difficulty when it was about research. And these days the emphasis is towards holistic development. That is, it's not just scores are important. A lot of program directors are evaluating us in almost all the aspects. They just don't want someone who has high scores. And so in that way, I believe research is going to be very important. So the way I got publications is that initially I took up the research course, from many online platforms, and of course I was enrolled in Sarthi research course as well. So I was actually getting some insights from Dr. Wiesman, who's I think the primary research coordinator when it comes to USMLESarthi. So the initial part of my research began like this. I browsed many online platforms. I was enrolled in USMLESarthi. So I got a basic insight from Dr. Wiesman as well as from other online platforms. So my first publication came through Dr. Wiesman. And then in the Sarthi program, I learned about the basics of research, like forming the methodologies, writing literature reviews, and formulating the overall manuscript, reviewing it, and all that. So if you're someone completely new into research, I would suggest you to enroll in programs like these, or at least work with someone who has a lot of research experience, so that you get oriented to this overall loop of research. So once you're into that loop, I think from there we'll have to essentially knock out and see where we get opportunities. For instance, out of the publications I got, two are the case reports that I got exclusively through this US clinical experience. So I think again, once we get to know the basics of research, we can start our own initiatives, and of course we can work with platforms like Sarthi, where they make us work on these research projects. And of course, when you're doing US clinical experience, if you are proactive and if you find some good cases, and if the attending is in line with you, you can definitely publish at least 2 or 3 case reports. Because let's say you do 4 months of US clinical experience, obviously there are going to be cases which are challenging, which are new. So yeah, there'll be plenty of potential for at least case reports.
Thank you, Inban. That is very helpful. So, finally, what 2 to 3 points you will suggest to IMGs, those who are applying, those who are looking forward to this big dream in their life? So, any key points for IMGs?
Okay, so when it comes to INGs, yeah, it's gonna be challenging, this entire USMLE journey. It's gonna be challenging in all possible ways, financially, socially, as well as from a personal point of view, it's gonna be really challenging. So if there is one advice, I would say develop a strong supporting system for you. Of course, your family support is going to be really important. Your individual hard work will matter. You need to be persistent. For instance, I started this journey about 2.5 years back. I had to rush back through the exams. I had to take care of OET. I had to take care of research works. I had to take care of US clinical experience, and then personal statements, ERAS application. So it keeps adding up. So what I would suggest is develop a good supporting network. For me, I kept it very simple. I prepared for my step exams by myself. And then when it comes to other aspects, I had a big supporting network from Sarthi. The Sarthi panelists and the other residents who are part of the Sarthi network, they are really helpful, particularly the Telegram group that the Sarthi members have. I believe at least there are hundreds of questions every day, and all the panelists with unique experiences, when they share the insights, it's going to be useful. It's going to be really helpful. And of course, in other aspects as well, personal statements, ERAS application, letters of recommendation, USCE, all these things, you'll need support from plenty of people, your friends, your colleagues, of course, other attendings, residents. And as I've mentioned, all these things came to me through Sarthi, because I didn't have a big network. I come from a relatively new medical college, and I'm a first generation doctor of my family. So I didn't have a big network in the US as well. So starting from visas to ERAS application and interviews now, I believe one support system was very crucial to me. So it was Sarthi. I completely relied on them for a lot of things. Yes, you're gonna put all efforts, starting from personal statement, your ERA CV. You're gonna do the rotations. You're gonna impress the attending. You're gonna study for your step exams. Obviously, these things are gonna be done by you. Most of the work is done by us, but I believe someone has to oversee us and guide us in a proper way, so that it will really be helpful on a longer run. So choose your support system properly. For me, I chose Sarthi, and so far I'm really happy about it. And the entire network of Sarthi panelists, they're really helpful in guiding us in right ways. So yeah, support system, that's the key word. Develop a good support system, and yeah, best of luck to everyone.
Thank you. And as you are a Sarthi Match Plan students, we are always with you. As you know, that interview season has started. So we are looking forward the interview preparation classes and mock interviews. We will move into that part later. So thank you so much for this very informative session. You have guided a lot of IMGs. This is very informative, and thank you so much for helping for all the IMGs. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
my pleasure, Arti. Thank you so much.